What's going on, my Central Unit? Is the Central Man here. So it's been a long time since I done these type of videos, so if you subscribe to the channel from day one, ever since I started Central Man Network, in the April of 2019, about 6.5 years going on 7 years, besides of reviewing wrestling shows, I do these type of rants / my thoughts videos on mostly on the current wrestling landscape. I think the last one I did was, I think it was last year. I did a video when Io Sky won the women's title from Rhea Ripley, and besides that, I haven't really done one ever since. Like, if you click on the most popular views of videos on my channel, it's mostly like, I do them mostly on rants, my thoughts. I think the most few type of video like this I done was, I think it was Sting versus Darby Allin. That got really good views, even though that match didn't happen. I think I did a video on Brian Cage. He needs to leave AEW. I need to get back on track, whether it's WWE or AEW. So, haven't really, speaking of AEW, haven't really done anything related to AEW in a long time. So I think the last video I did was, I just did every AEW Women's Champion. I did. Maybe did I do it for tag team? I don't think I did for the. Maybe it's tag team. No, I think it's tag teams. I can't remember. But I need to get back on track. So in this video, I'm going to talk about Will Powerhouse Hobbs. So it's confirmed that his timing with All Elite Wrestling has come to an end. He's been in the company for 6 years. He joined AEW in 2020. Last for 6 years, and now he's gone. There's speculation that he could be on his way to WWE. And my thoughts of this, if he goes to WWE, I think he needs to go to WWE, man. I think people are gonna say, "Oh, it's the bad decision. You should never go to WWE." But hear me out. So, I think Will Hobbs, Powerhouse Hobbs, his real name is William Hobson, whatever you call him. I think his run with AEW has been a bust. Don't get me wrong, AEW gave him a start. He's been wrestling. It's funny, he's gonna be 35 this weekend. He's 34. I checked on his the Wikipedia page. He's gonna be 35 on the 24th of January. So he's gonna be so that's this Saturday. It got me thinking, he's been wrestling since he was 18. He joined AEW at the age of 29. Late 20s. I think he's been he had a run in the Indies. AEW gave him that big break, and now he's looked like he's going to a bigger stage. I think he could probably do well in WWE. I don't. It's hard to tell because he hasn't really signed yet. I don't know if there's any confirmed. He might go. We don't know. I think he will do. I think he'll do well. Let's be honest with in AEW, he didn't do it. The only nitpick about Will Hobbs, he's for me, he's good in the ring. He's he's good in the ring. Yeah, he's kind of a good talker. But here's the nitpick about him. His Grant McGear's in his 6 years run with AEW, he's jumping around one faction to another. I felt like he's jumped one faction to another for the past 6 years. It really don't really do Hobbs any favors. First off, he was I think his first match with AEW was on an episode of Dark. They lost to Orange Cassidy. Then he's starting to make an appearance on Dynamite. wearing the blue trunks. You know, he's like kind of feuding with, you know, at the time Taz is slowly forming this group called Team Taz. You have Brian Cage. I think this is before they can have Ricky Starks and bringing in his son Hooks to the faction. Then, you know, and then he ended up joining Team Taz, you know, became Powerhouse Hobbs. You know, he's just basically, you know, jumping through four factions now? Yeah, Team Taz. He is part of, was it QT Marshall's faction? What's it called? QT TV? I don't know. I can't remember the faction that QT Marshall had. He was in there. He was part of the Don Callis family. And then he was part of the Ops. You know, 4 factions in 6 years. He did wrap up 2 titles. You know, he was TNT champion. And he was a 6-man tag team champions with the Ops. With, with Joe, Samoa Joe. Was it Shibata? I can't really pronounce his name. You know, his first name. My apologies. But his run, you know, he didn't do any favors. You know, he's just another guy in the faction. You know, he's not got a chance to shine. You know, I think he wasted 6 years of his career. You know, look at when he won the TNT title. He won it in March. He only held that belt for like a month. He dropped it back to Wardlow. Pointless, completely pointless. And it's just like he's not going to go up the card. He's just going to be in another faction. Yeah, he got injured. You know, unlucky. But you know, I think if he goes to WWE, I think he'll probably do. I think he might go to. I think he'd do well in NXT, man. I think he'll probably have a good run in NXT. You know, let's be honest. I think NXT needs some new guys on the roster because let's be real. I think you had Jordan Grace. I think she's now with the roster. Like you got what's it called? Trick Williams. You know, they're signing guys on the main roster. I think NXT needs some new fresh blood. I think he'll probably do well on NXT. Like he could reunited and feud with Ricky Saints. You know, Ricky Starks. You know, he had history, part of Team Taz. You know, that could be good. But yeah, his run was a flop. I have to say this. It's a flop. It's a flop. You know, yeah, he's won. Yeah, you can bring up his title reigns, but it meant nothing. You know, yeah, he is. Yeah, when he was part of the Ops, you know, he was feuding with the Death Riders, but you know, that was kind of a positive. But at the same time, he's like, it's not doing for his career. You know, I think he's like, yeah, he's a low AEW guy, but at this moment in time, I think he's just had enough. I don't know him. You know, I'm not gonna be him or professionally, but I think he's just, I don't know. I think he's just had enough with AEW. He's not, you know, he just wants to like be a star in AEW, trying to be like get into the mid card, trying to be a world champion, trying to be a main eventer. It's not gonna do any favors of him jumping one faction to another. Let me see if he just re-signs with the company. What's next? He's gonna join the Death Riders. Rejoin the Don Callis family. Don Callis family. We don't know. You know, I think it's just like, I think he needs to be on his own, doing things on his own. I don't mind like having him have a manager, you know, be more of a mouthpiece for him, but let him showcase what he can do. I think AEW don't really do that. I think he'll probably go into NXT, WWE, go to NXT, he might do well. I can see him winning the titles in NXT. When he gets called up to the main roster, would he be a world champion and the main eventer in WWE when he get called up to Raw and SmackDown? Whether it's in 2027, 2028 or 2029, that will be a long shot because by the time, like he's been wrestling since he was 18. By the time we reach 2029, he'll be 38. He's been in the business for 20 years. I think it'll be time's running out. it'd be a long shot, but I can see him becoming the mid-card guy in WWE. Whether it's going towards whether it's in NXT or the main roster, you know. Like I said, I think like the main event thing's gonna be a long shot, but yeah, I think he'll probably do well in WWE than AEW. Let's be real. Like I don't hate the guy. I don't hate the company. I think I think they did good with Hobbs. You know, like I said, you know, yeah, you know, it gives him his start in wrestling. You know, like in a major wrestling company. You know, despite I think he's been wrestling on the indie scene for like a decade. You know, he's part of Team Taz, and then he's part of another faction, then another one, and another. Never got a chance to like be, you know, if he just like you know, they didn't like, I don't know, man. It's like if they just given him a chance, they never got him a chance to shine. If he was TNT champion, they should have given him that run as TNT champion. He could really shine. Give him a good run with the belt. 1 month is crap. Like, I think he's just had enough. You know, if I'm not gonna let me be a singles guy, you know, do well in the mid card, whether it's the TNT champion or the compete in the Continental Classic, or now they introduced the North American Championship. Like introduce, you know, if you're not gonna win those titles in the mid card, my time is to part ways. You know, I think he's gonna part ways. You know, I think like this is the big issue for AEW. Like you got other guy, you know, for the last since 2022, I think it was like 2023 onwards. You know, guys from AEW, like since AEW was formed, you see WWE guys going to AEW. Now the twist has turned. It's turned on. You had the AEW guys going to WWE. You know, like let's be honest, Jade Cargill, TNT. I think. Yeah, longest reigning TNT not TNT champion, longest reigning TBS champion. I think she's the longest reigning TNT champion. Unless Mercedes Moné broke it. Ended up going to sign with WWE. Ethan Page didn't do nothing in AEW. What's he done? Went to WWE. I think he's doing good. I think he's doing good right now. I think he's North American champion. He's, you know, he kind of Canadianized the title. He's doing, you know, he went, you know, he was an Impact Wrestling / TNA to AEW, now with TNA / WWE. I can keep going. Bakaye Black. You know, to be fair, he had a decent run with AEW. You know, part of the House of Black, under a faction. You know, yeah, he was the 6-man tag team champions with Brody Lee and Buddy Murphy. You know, he went back to the WWE. It's kind of, you know, I don't know. I think I don't want to get. That's another topic for another time. I want to discuss more. I think Andrade, his both runs in WWE and AEW has been a bust. Miro, like his run was a flop. Despite he was the first international champion, or maybe it was Pac. Anyway, was he TNT champion? I'm not sure. I can't remember. But those kids going. I heard like Britt Baker. I think her time with AEW is likely to be at an end. Like, I don't know. I don't know. We haven't seen Britt since All Out of 2024. You know, Wardlow, don't know. Like Jericho, I think Jericho's time's probably at the end. You know, it's a big red flag for AEW talent. They end up going back, you know, to WWE, despite, you know, getting booked or not. You know, it's a big issue. But yeah, they still got good talent in the roster. But you know, I know I'm going off topic, man. But you know, I hope like Hobbs do well. You know, he's got the size. You know, he's got the look. You know, I hope he do well. So anyway, guys, what's your thoughts on Powerhouse Hobbs, you know, would he do well in WWE? Please leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Smash that button. Click the like, click the bell, subscribe to the Central Man Network on YouTube. Be part of the Central Unit for more wrestling videos and more. And this is the Central Man officially signing out. Check you later.